Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Annabel Lee was a beautiful poem of Edgar Allan Poe. It was the last poem of Edgar Allan Poe. Before moving on to the chapter, let's get familiarized with the poet. Edgar Allan Poe was an American poet, writer, and literary critic. He was best known for his poetry and short stories. He was born on January 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. The Raven, Annabel Lee, Alone, The Bells were the famous poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Annabel Lee was published in the year 1849, just 2 days after the death of Edgar, which is on 7th October 1849. Annabel Lee was first published in 2 newspapers, namely Richmond Examiner and the New York Tribune. Annabel Lee revolves around the love story which ends in a tragedy. Throughout the poem, the speaker discusses his relationship with the deceased Annabel Lee. He presents the love between him and Annabel Lee as pure, eternal, and all-conquering. So now, let's get into the chapter. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. Here, in the first stanza, the poet says that many years ago there was a kingdom by the sea, and in that kingdom there lived a very beautiful woman named Annabel Lee. And here the poet also suggests that the readers might know her by the name Annabel Lee. According to the narrator, Annabel Lee's one and only thought was the love between herself and the narrator. She would always think of the love which she shares with the narrator. She always wants to love the narrator and to be loved by him. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs in the heaven coveted her and me. In the second stanza, the poet says that they began to love since they were children. They were children, but their love went well beyond what love normally can be. They were in intense love, and the poet says that their love was very special, which even made the angels jealous. Here in this stanza, seraphs means angels. So here in this stanza, the poet uses the poetic device allusion. It is used as the angels is being degraded to the level of the demons. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cold, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. So in the third stanza, the poet reveals that Annabel Lee was killed as the result of angels jealous. Annabel Lee was killed by wind from the cloud which was sent by the angels of heaven. She was affected by the wind and later she died. She was then taken away by people whom the narrator calls high-born kinsmen. Here, high-born kinsmen means either Annabel Lee's family members or the angels. They then enclosed her in a tomb. Here, sepulchre means tomb. So poet says that Annabel Lee was taken away from him by her family or the angels, and she was being enclosed within a tomb in that same kingdom. Here the poet uses personification. Wind is being personified, as wind is given a human character which is capable of killing another person, as Annabel Lee is caused and killed by wind. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me, Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. So, in the fourth stanza, the poet says that angels were really unhappy in heaven and were envious of the love between the poet and Annabel Lee. That's why they sent the wind to kill her. It is due to their jealous poet lost his lover. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. In the fifth stanza, the poet says that their love was more powerful than the people older and wiser than them. Their love was so intense. Furthermore, he believes that no angels in the heaven and no demons under the sea could separate her soul from the poet. It is very powerful and strong. They can separate her from the poet by causing her death, but not their souls. It will be together always. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my wife, and my bride, in her sepulchre, there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So every time when the moon shines, it brings him the dreams of his Annabel Lee. Whenever he saw the moon, it take him to the beautiful memories of Annabel Lee. And when the star brights, instead of the stars, what he saw was her sparkling eyes. And he concludes the poem by stating that every night the speaker would lie down near Annabel Lee's tomb. Here he called her as his life and his bride. So every night the speaker lies beside Annabel Lee's tomb, which was near the sea, and he could also hear the sound of the sea, which was coming nearby, as they were in a kingdom by the sea. This act of poet shows that he still loves her even after her death. Here moon and stars are used to describe poet's love for her and her stunning beauty. So that's the end of the poem. This poem was written in ABABCB rhyming scheme. This poem also deals with the themes of pure love, death, and grief. The poem revolves around the intense love of the speaker. According to the poet, love is the greatest force in universe and nothing could destroy it, not even death. So their love is an example for pure love as he still loves her even after her death. And also he could feel her presence everywhere, even in the natural elements. Love is portrayed in its most pure form. Annabel Lee is represented as a symbol of love. In every stanza, the word sea is used. Throughout the poem, the sea symbolizes evil and darkness. Annabel Lee is not technically a ballad, but Edgar Allan Poe referred it to as ballad. Like a ballad, he uses repetition of certain words and phrases purposefully to give it a mournful effect. Annabel Lee was written in a painful memory of Virginia Eliza Clem Poe. She was Edgar's wife. The couple were first cousins and they married when Virginia was 13 and Edgar was 27. So, as the poet says in the poem, they were in love since their childhood. As in the poem, Virginia was caused by tuberculosis and she died on 30th January 1847. Edgar wrote The Raven while she was facing the hard times of tuberculosis. Annabel Lee revolves the death of Virginia. In fact, Virginia is referred to as Annabel Lee. His love for his wife was portrayed in the poem. So that's all about the poem and the poet. So I hope this video would be helpful for you. Thank you.